Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Blossoming Unity. We are Dennis and Nicole, and we are here to introduce you into the conversation about different spiritual perceptions, techniques, and methodologies in order for you to have inspiration for your day-to-day life. Hey, Nicole.
How are you?
I'm good. This full moon is pretty intense.
Yes. I had trouble sleeping last night because there was so much energy amplified. And I was like, ooh, that's really vibrant.
I had really vivid dreams. I was in this pool. I was in this massive, massive pool, and there was a bunch of stuff happening underwater. That's all I can go into. But it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not go too deep into that. Amazing. So this is like really intense. It's this full moon
Mhm.
in like it depends in the new astrology, they say it's a full moon in Pisces. But in the old astrology, the Kabbalistic astrology, they say it's a full moon in Libra in Aries, which is like, I love that those old mystic schools, they're still sticking to their theory.
Mhm.
And the new mystic schools are like, no, it's new. Like we're doing something else. Well, whatever works for you, it's this full moon. And we should harvest the full moon like we always do in Kundalini yoga. But yeah. What are you doing usually on full moons?
Release, 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 and a little bit more releasing.
Okay, so almost no releasing, but releasing.
Yeah, just a little bit of a release, but a lot of release. So it's like it's a double whammy. I do depending on how I'm feeling at the particular moment as well. There's been times when I did a lot of journaling of things that I had realized, and then depending on the level of energy that I was feeling towards the thing, I would put it on paper because I knew it was giving me even more space putting it out on piece of paper. And being able to burn that and just watch it fly into the wind and just letting it go and just giving that full permission of whatever you call the higher self, or higher consciousness, the deeper self, whatever label you use, but allowing that to have full reign over what no longer serves and to release that. And this one, it's been really emotional. It's been a lot of emotions, and recognizing them, a lot more awareness of the emotions, because we have these little hidden gems of emotional baggage that we don't realize until it comes up to the surface. And when you have that level of awareness, you're able to recognize it and then let it go.
Very interesting. It's so funny because I had yesterday a podcast with an astrologer, and what he was talking about is the sun is trining Pluto. And Pluto is the far away planet. They say it's not even. They say it's a dwarf planet, but I feel it's so unfair to say that. I love
Right.
Pluto, but so Pluto. What this trining does is it brings up all the old unaware sadness and trauma and emotions, so it's like fitting perfectly, but it has nothing to do with the full moon. It's the sun, you trining Pluto, your oldest, your deepest wounds. That's
Oh,
what's
so
coming up.
the moon isn't affecting me anymore, so that's good. I'm in alignment
Well,
with the sun.
yes, and the sun is the masculine energy as
Mm.
well, which is really interesting because you're holding so much masculine energy for the planet to wake up at the moment. You're with your calm and beautiful energy, that's what you're doing, right? So yeah, it's really interesting. But the moon is the subconscious. So what's in this full moon, this is kind of amplified, right? It's like really interesting. I love astrology. It's so because the knowledge within is so fascinating. And I wanted to say something about handwriting, what you're saying, because getting it out properly while you write it down. What's really interesting is when you're, it's totally different if you write something down on your notes in your mobile phone or on your computer, or you take a pen and you write it down. What it does is in your brain, in your prefrontal cortex, when you're writing things down, it allows it to transform into into the subconscious.
Mm.
It's a type of, transforming. That's why people used to write diaries, because it's like you're writing down what happened the day, you're writing down the emotions, you're writing down the situations that you had. And while doing that in your brain with the handwriting, what it did was it transformed the experience into from associated experience, where you're still like in the experience while you think about it, to a dissociated experience. And that's the transform. That's a technical explanation for why it's so beneficial to write things down on paper and burn them.
Right. And also with if you're right-handed,
Yes.
and you do the writing with your left hand, the right hand is all about giving energy. It's the action-oriented side.
Yes.
It's the left brain. And then with the left hand, that's more of receiving. That's why you do different actions with the left. So me being predominantly dominant with writing with my right hand, so that would help.
Yeah. Yes.
Give it away.
Yes, and that's also the reason why so many people are right-handed.
Mm.
This is a big reason, but I mean, back in the days here in Europe, at least, I don't know how it was in the States, but in Europe, they forced people to be right-handed. My father, for example, would have been left-handed, but he was forced to write with the right hand. And what that did was, it's like with a child that would usually be left-handed, what it does is it changes the narrative of the brain, which doesn't allow you to live your full purpose, because the brain side, which is on when you're left-handed, is the right brain side, right? So it's a more feminine, a more creative, a more co-creational energy that you would have, and so you come more into power with that. But they wanted to suppress that. So nowadays that's not the case anymore, but this was really for like a good 60-70 years. They forced people to write with the right hands to suppress the creation energy, to have more control over population.
Wow.
Very fascinating.
That is.
Yeah.
You know what I really love? I love how whenever I start talking about my experiences, and then I have someone there, mainly you, to be able to say, well, this is why this is happening. And just because I'll go on the record and say I don't really do any digging around for information. All my experiences, I like them to be personal, and whenever that information is brought to me, then I'm able to cross-check there. But everything's experiential for me. I don't do a lot of book reading. I don't do a lot of research. I don't do it. And when I speak it's coming from personal experience.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful that I was able to speak about what it is that's been happening inside. And you're just like, well.
You know what's fascinating? I never read any spiritual book, any like self-help book, nothing at all, until I was like 3 years ago. I only woke up, like my big awakening, and my everything I do is coming from experience. I experienced healing myself. I experienced past life regression myself. I figured all that out myself. And then when I knew what I was doing, then I started to read about it, because what I feel is really important. And this is also a big kind of work for LI Vision, right? What we want to do with LI Vision, we want to give people that are usually would have no access towards spirituality, because their brain is more into science or more into business or more, there are different places. What we want to do is we want to build a bridge for those people to have access towards something that they could not have access to, because it's too woo-woo. It's too, oh my God, you need to feel everything. No. And there's an explanation for almost every phenomenon that we're having in the spiritual world. whether it's coming from quantum physics, or it's coming from the brain, neurological science, or it's coming from science to that how they studied societies, or it's coming like there is an explanation for everything. And what I wanted to have is I wanted to have the possibility to explain spiritual phenomenons to everyone, so everyone can have an access to it. I think it's so important.
As you were speaking,
Yes.
I just had this amazing, just, I don't even know what to call it, but the process of bringing everything. So the subconscious, and what we call the subconscious, is all a bunch of unconscious patterns just playing out, right?
Yes.
Now, when you bring the entire subconscious conscious, there's no more subconscious.
No. And you know what's also fascinating? We're born only with conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the subconscious is built while we grow up, because you're growing up in a certain environment, and the environment is having a certain kind of needs for you. So I'm explaining again, right? Oh no. Yeah, I'm doing it again. I'm explaining why we have a subconscious and a conscious mind. So the reason why that happened is your parents, for example, you grow up and you know your mom wants you to do a certain thing. Let's have she wants you to sit at the table and eat properly, eat nicely, right? That's what we are taught to do, at least here. I don't know how it's in the States, but here you're like, okay, please behave at the table, sit there. So the child, even though the child would have an inner need to do something else, the child starts to know, okay, my mother doesn't want me to do that. And what a child needs is love and connection, right? So in order to not disconnect from the tribe, from the mother, it suppresses its own needs. So this is where the conscious mind and the subconscious starts to build. So that's how every single person on this planet so far has a subconscious mind and a conscious mind. So and this is like, I have been traveling. Okay, this is going very far. Okay, people, if you don't like what I'm saying now, and if you think I'm crazy, that's possible, but I will anyway tell you that I'm working with a Mayan timekeeper. His name is Jose Munoz, and Jose Munoz is a Mayan elder, and he is a timekeeper. In the Mayan culture, they have like very ancient, like it's like 26,000-year-old ancient techniques, and he is one of the elders, and I'm working with him. And a part of my work is to bring down new vibrations from other dimensions and from other timelines to planet Earth, so we can evolve. This is a part of my job, and there's the woo-woo part of it, and then there's the normal part of it. And in the woo-woo part of it, I traveled with Jose Munoz into the future, into the year 7723 on Mars. There were humans living on the Mars there. It was a, how do you say that in English? It was a astral travel. Let's keep within the spiritual route. They would say astral travel. Mm-hmm. So I astral traveled to the year 7723, and the place is called Kawilia. And in Kawilia, in this year 7723, it was the first time that the uni consciousness was available for humanity. And what I had to do in this woo-woo part of my job is to bring this uni consciousness, the vibration of the uni consciousness, back to planet Earth in 2021. So I'm holding the vibration of the uni consciousness in my physical body, actually. which does not mean that I have a uni consciousness. I just want to say that I have very many subconscious patterns still. Like, I'm not.
Absolutely.
We all are, but the energetic vibration of a uni consciousness is what you just experienced, I guess.
Yeah.
That was nice, right?
So, what came as well after that, and as you were speaking, my entire body lit up as I, just by being aware of the subconscious, eliminates all the patterns.
Yes.
That's what that coming together of those energies is all about.
Nice.
All right, let's get off the woo woo.
We're coming back to take a deep inhale. Hold the breath.
And slowly exhale.
So, apart from the full moon and the woo-woo things this week, what's as well here this week is the autumn equinox. And the autumn equinox, do you know what the autumn equinox is? Like, a lot of people don't know, and I think it's really fascinating.
I don't say that I do.
Yeah, the autumn equinox is the day where the day and the nights are balanced in the southern and the northern hemisphere. So that's a day where the sun is going over the equator. It's a day where the sun is on the equator. And this is a very powerful day. It's September 22nd. So it's one day after the full moon. Today is September 21st. It's the full moon day, which is the full moon of balance, right? It's a full moon in Libra or the full moon in Pisces, but it's both for balance, which is really nice. And it's in Aries in the old astrology, which is also standing for balance and creating a pattern for balance. And then we're having this autumn equinox. And those equinoxes back in the days were used to balance out the masculine and the feminine energy within the physical body, the subconscious and the conscious mind, the emotions, the positive and the negative mind. And you can amplify this balancing with certain kind of exercises or yoga or like whatever you choose, or meditation, which are focusing on balancing your system out. And this equinox is really fascinating. The witches are using the equinoxes. Then the old mystics are Stonehenge, and there are a lot of those old mystical places which are built for those type of astral alignments. So you can use the energies that are there and implement them into your physical body. So how to do that in nowadays? We cannot all travel to Stonehenge in England, right? Or to Egypt, to the pyramids. Unfortunately, currently not possible. So what I do is I work with my crystals. You can put your crystals outside for the full moon. That's what you anyway have to do all the time, because the crystals are harvesting the energies of the full moon. And then when you're having them around you, what they do is over the month, they're giving you exactly the vibrations that you need to grow. And the same thing is with the equinox. When there is a certain frequency coming in from the planets and from sun, and especially the sun is so important for us. Sun, moon, Sirius, all those are important. So you harvest the energy that is there, and you support your physical body with it. That's what we do with crystals. That's what they're there for. So it's kind of the consciousness of the crystal has the capability of holding for you the vibration, and then you wear the crystal or you hold it in meditation, and what the crystal consciousness does, it connects to your consciousness, and then you can utilize the energy, and you don't even have to feel it or see it or believe in it. It works anyway. The only thing you have to do is put the crystals out.
How do you feel about taking off the crystals when you come home?
Well, it depends what the crystals are for. For example, I have malas. I always work with malas, and I have malas which are specifically for protection of my auric field. And those malas, when I wear malas for protection from outside to inside, I take them off and I lay them on my altar so they can relax again. They can, and all of my malas have crystals which work with them. So the crystal stays in the house in this vibrating space, and then the mala comes back, and I give her crystal, so they can start to work with each other again. They're creating like a little portal together, and then they exchange the energy. So, but if you wear a crystal not for protection, you can, like, there are some crystals which you wear it like 24/7 for a certain amount of time. Just make sure to give the crystal, like, if you're someone that breaks crystals all the time, that means you're not really taking good care of it. Like, if you have that, then I would suggest that you're taking it off when you come home, or you take it off when you go out. That's also an option, to not take it outside. I have certain crystals, they're only for meditation, or crystals which are only for concentration. I have a lot of smoky quartz around my workspace because I have so many things coming in, so I'm sometimes having trouble to concentrate. So I have a lot of smoky quartz around me, so they're building this very clear channel with me. Those, I never take them out, for example. They just stay in my workspace. So, and if they break a lot, what you have to do is you have to take care of them a little bit better, so they can load at a certain point in time as well.
So is it safe to say that you should more possibly, if you're coming home, allow your crystal to rest as well? Allow your crystal to come home as well, because the crystal could be constantly working 24/7, 48 hours, 72 hours, just allowing it to come home as well. And then if you still feel like you need to put it back on, or it wants to come back, allowing that as well.
Yes, I would say it's safe to say that, but I would also say be aware, like, at the moment you understand that the crystal is a living being that works for you, then there is a certain amount of compassion possible. And like back in the days, I was not aware that crystals are alive. Like, I was like, I didn't know. I never thought of it because it was a stone to me, right? We don't grow up with the knowledge that crystals are living beings. But at the moment, you could allow in your mind that if this would be, just to play the game, if this would be a living being and it would work with me, how much rest would I give it? And then there is a certain amount of compassion possible from your heart towards the heart of the crystal. And then you give it automatically a break, right? That's what you would do. You would be like, oh, I don't want you to die, right? Because when the crystal breaks, it's dead. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, for crystal consciousness, it's also good to move on, right?
Right.
But I feel to say that I almost never break crystals because I'm really taking good care of them. And they're conscious living beings, and just to have compassion with them. Like, if you have a friend and this friend works with you and you feel, ooh, I took so much energy from that friend this whole day. The friend helped me for 8 hours going through my work day. Then you would come home and you will be like, okay, relax, my friend. Like, have a little bath in the water and relax on an altar, That's what you would do automatically because you have compassion with your friend, right? And
Exactly.
that's what crystals are for me. Yeah. And give them some other friends. Like, what I have is I have some crystals that are at home. They just chill here. Mine are quite big, but they're also available in small. And those are the crystals that are holding the space for the other ones that work, so they can have an exchange with each other. And I will upload on my Instagram a little video about what we do when it's full moon. You will see, like, there are like 5,000 crystals outside my house. Like, they're just chilling outside in the night. And make sure that you're not putting them in the sun. I know there are different ideologies when it comes to crystals, but make sure you should not put a crystal in the sun. the sun is really a very, very extreme energy for the crystal. And since the crystals are working with our subconscious mind, and they're supporting our physical body and the water, the element in our physical body, it is really important that we do not over
Stimulate.
yes them. And the sun energy is just too much for a crystal. Just put them out in the full moon night. Then you have them out in the full moon night. They can harvest the energy of the moon, because what the moon is, it's a reflection of the sun energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the sun is shining at the moon, and then the moon is reflecting the sun's light. And this is enough for a crystal. Yeah. All crystal knowledge. It's so good.
It also goes into if you're too busy staring at the shadows, you forget that you're the light. When
Yes.
you're constantly staring at the subconscious, unconscious patterns
Yes.
and identifying with them.
Yeah, and you cannot see them because they're blind. They will show, like, life will show them automatically. That's the nice thing about it.
Always do.
What else do we feel like speaking about this week?
It's time to come out of the cave. A lot of people have been in the cave. So they've had this transformation. It's like we're gonna talk tarot, like the Eight of Cups. There's a lot of different, meanings that go along with that card, but I see it as, walking up the mountain to go into the cave, and then later coming out as the hermit. And the hermit's, standing on top of the mountain, finally coming out and having this star in his lantern and being the guiding light, right? So this week when I was, tapping into the collective energy, it was main messages: get out of the cave, protect your peace, but get out of the cave. You've done the work, you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to exercise that, be the guiding light for others.
Yes. I mean, I can only speak about myself. Like, I had 2 days ago a talk with a good friend of mine, and he said to me, Nicole, you need to be more like the sun. Step into the power. And I was like, I'm already trying to do that. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, Nicole, you have to really, like, you have more power than what you're currently showing. Like, show the fun and the liveliness within you. Like, yes. And I think that's what Dennis means when it comes to come out of the cave, because I don't know how you feel, but I have so much joy within me. Like, in my inner world is so joyful.
Mm-hmm.
But I often felt and feel, and this comes back to childhood, that my joy is disrupting other people, because they cannot concentrate anymore around me. They cannot, they're disrupted in their energetic field, and I can feel that. Like, when I'm full of joy, it's so radiant. Like, people they're like thrown off of their thing.
I have something for you. This will put it into perspective. So we have happiness, and then we have joy. Happiness is from outside in. Joy is inside out.
Yes.
Joy is inside out. Happiness is outside in. When you radiate that joy, it's going to piss some people off. I'm going to say that on the record. It is. Because some people, because that light is shining on their shadow. And if they're still identifying with it, then they're going to feel that little bit of disruption. But ultimately, you are healing as well. You're shining that light on that for them.
Yes. And I just know, like, I just want to speak of that, because I feel like a lot of spiritual teachers don't. It is not easy to be, like, a friend of mine, she said, like, Nicole, you're so annoying. You're not like a mirror for me. Like, usually people are mirroring me, but you're like those places when you walk in and there are only mirrors and you don't know where to go, and you're reflected everywhere. How do you say that in English? It's like a mirror garden, or a room full of mirrors.
Yeah, we can just say that. Room for the mirrors.
She said to me, like, you're like that. You're like, I walk in a room and there are only mirrors, and wherever I look, I see myself, and this is what you reflect to me, and it's so annoying at times. And it's not an easy task. It's not an easy job to do, to reflect on everybody, and even on social media, even on that, like this is my job to reflect towards you what you are, and then it and then you need to transform. I have a lot of transformative energy. So to accept who you are and to come deeper and deeper into understanding of your essence lets you shine brighter and brighter. And I know for some of you that are listening, this is really difficult. I have the biggest compassion towards you because I just know how difficult it is. But yeah, do what Dennis says.
Well, that's the thing is how that was brought up. I was actually on a live, and people are asking, "How are you? How are you? How are you?" I was like, I'm always joyful, because joy is never fleeting. Joy is an inside job, and happiness is fleeting because it's an outside job.
Yeah.
Joy is more of a co-creation, or happiness is more of a co-creation. Joy is an inside job, and it's also a co-creation in the sense that when I radiate that joy.
Yes.
But it's not really anything you have to do. It's just radiating. It's just, it's there. With happiness, it's something coming in.
And happiness is also kind of, it's like the thirst trap of your mind, right? It's like, if you see like on social media, someone, like if you're a man, you see a very beautiful woman, or if you're a woman, you see a very beautiful man, and it's like this thirst trap thing going on. This is what happiness is for people. Like they want to get more and more and more, but it's just the idea of the feeling, but it's not internalized yet. It's not, you feel this like when you get up in the morning. I don't know how you are, but when I wake up in the morning, I'm like ding, and then I'm like dun, 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 dun. Within me there's this woohoo, let's do this. Okay, we have to co-create, we have to create some things now. Okay, let's go. And there's this pure joy of life. Like life is so beautiful, and this incarnation. And I know when you're suffering, I know, oh God, I know it's so annoying, but try to find those moments of joy within you.
Last night, I went outside and I was just standing in the grass barefoot. I love that. I love standing in the grass barefoot. And I'm just looking around and I'm just like, wow, this is a pretty damn good, beautiful creation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's being able to look at a tree, or just look at your fingers, or look at anything, really anything, even looking at this camera. It's just being able to recognize how beautiful this creation really is. And with that recognition, there's no room for that another day. But when I do wake up, so when I rise, I am usually just so I actually have to calm it down, because I have to put myself in that space, because when I wake up, it's like ignite, and then I sit for a moment, and it doesn't take very long. For me, 1 to 2 minutes. I sit, center, and good for the day. And then that way, whenever it is time to put that into play, it's just quick and ready.
Yeah. This is a daily practice. This is what we're talking about, like, since the last 4 podcasts, is, when I wake up, I always do it the same. I wake up, then I'm like, woohoo, let's do this. And then I'm saying hi to my dogs because they're like laying around in bed somehow. And then I get up, light my candles on my personal altar, light the candles on my meditation altar. I have a meditation room. And whenever you have space, create a meditation room. It's a bomb. It's the best thing you can do in your life. You will thank me later. And then I do yoga. I have a daily practice, and this is the first thing I do. I connect, I chant the mantra, Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. This is a Kundalini yoga mantra, and it's connecting you to your higher self and to the wisdom within. And then I do my yoga and I'm good to go. And this daily practice creates it's like the fuel for a machine that you're having. Your physical body is the car, and what you're doing with a daily practice, you put fuel into car. You start the car for the day, and you know where you want to drive. And this is the game changer. And you can start with 3 minutes, like as Dennis said, 1, 2, 3 minutes. Get yourself a daily practice as short as 3 minutes. Do it for 40 days consecutive, and then look at the changes in your life. You will be blown away. It's like so cool.
Also, as you're doing these practices, don't force. Forcing sends a completely different energy to the practice. You know, you get a lot of people who come to, I don't know how to meditate. I'm not meditating right. My thoughts are just constantly going. It's, oh my gosh, it's just, I end up trying, and then for 5 minutes, I'm just sitting there having a conversation with myself. Allow it to happen naturally. Just sit there. Mm-hmm. Learn to sit.
Mm-hmm. You can count to 10. This is the best meditation to start. If you never meditated, take your phone, put the clock on 3 minutes, and then sit there, and then you close your eyes and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1. And you do that until the alarm is going off. That's all you need to do. Like, only this will give you such a profound change in your presence, in your auric field. This is the easiest meditation you can do. Or you touch your pulse on the arm, and whenever the pulse is going, unless you're having a pulse like a guinea pig, then maybe you breathe every second one. But if you're having a relaxed pulse, you breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. That's all you do for the 3 minutes. But I just wrote an article on LI Vision about discipline and how important discipline is and why it is important. And I feel to say that people that are lacking discipline, and I know it might sound harsh, but you can never really get joyful, because what a disciplined person does is she does things anyway, even though there are some negative feelings, or you don't want to do it, you don't feel like doing it, you do it anyways. And that allows you to be aware of your emotions, you're aware of your thoughts, you're aware of what your physical body is doing, but you analyzing those 3 information tools. Like, your emotions is an information tool, your thoughts is an information tool, what your physical body does is an information tool. And with your free will, with your conscious mind, you're taking those 3 information tools into consideration, and sometimes you just do shit anyways. That's what you need to do, right? And it's very, very important to start to have discipline with a daily practice, for example. It's your biggest choice, it's your biggest opportunity to have a joyful life. That's what I feel to say.
Making this piece of life as vibrant as possible.
Yes.
And the thing about discipline is, the whole point is to touch this in its fullness, to experience the fullness, the full depth of being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And with that discipline, you're able to recognize those unconscious habits, those unconscious beliefs, the unconscious this, and being able to set up a beautiful base.
Yes.
Structure.
Or maybe what just comes in for me is, Dennis, maybe you could create a 3-minute video where you breathe with people. Just breathe in, hold the breath, breathe out, and you guide them for 3 minutes. And you put it on your YouTube.
Yes.
And people could use your, this is how I started. I used someone on YouTube. His name was Muji Baba, and he's a spiritual teacher. And
Muji, love him.
I love
beautiful
him.
Spirit, beautiful spirit.
He's my favorite.
He gets it. He gets it.
Yes. And I mean, you could do that for people that you do, because you're so good in guiding those breathing exercises and holding space for people with your masculine energy. And it would be so nice if people could go on your YouTube, and you could do a 3 and a 5 minute for people that are a little bit and starting to meditate. And then they could go every morning, they go on YouTube and they do with you the daily meditation.
Absolutely. I love that idea. Absolutely.
And then they could do it guided, because then it's easier. Then you're holding the space, and they could just sit in the space of the energy and breathe 3 minutes in, hold the breath, and out. In, hold the breath, and out. And that's all you do. I think it's profound, the change. I love when people do that. Yes, do that, please.
It's happening.
Amazing.
It's happening.
Yeah. So I think we're good.
I think so too.
I will upload a video on Ally Vision for those of you that want to do a 3-minute Kundalini yoga practice. It's called Breath of Fire. I was talking about Breath of Fire a lot. For those of you that don't have enough energy going through the day, it's a very simple exercise, and I will upload it on Ally Vision YouTube, so you can go and look it up there, and then you can practice it every day as well. So we have 2 options. You have the calming option from Dennis, and then you have the powerhouse option for me. But do 40 consecutive days. 40 consecutive days, please. It's important. It changes the narrative of your brain.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
All right. I love you, beautiful people. Right. Remember, we do collective tarot readings every week on my YouTube channel. Also, it is posted on ellie.vision. Make sure you check that out. Check out I Am Oneness on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter.
Everywhere.
All over
the place.
Also, there's going to be some new releases as well soon, but we're going to keep that a secret.
Yes. Let's only speak about it when it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you guys. Lots of love. And if you have questions, do not hesitate to contact us.
Absolutely.
You can always DM us. We're very normal human beings that love to be in contact with you guys. And have an amazing day.
Absolutely. Love you guys.
Bye.
Mwah.